everybody, and welcome back to the Come Play Podcast, episode 13. We're all here today. Say what's up, everybody.
What's up, everybody? Why did you say
Hey.
episode twice?
Did I? Yo, it's...
You said episode 13 episode.
Oh, wow. Yo, I'm losing
I haven't noticed.
Hot start, boys. All right. Yes, we're back for episode 13. And Pucks and Deep.
Hashtag Pucks and Deep.
Yep.
And we are starting off, as always, this episode with Zach. Zach's thought of the week. Let's hear it.
This week is not too heated. So
Damn.
when you have a dipping sauce, do you scoop it or do you just dip it?
Oh,
Oh.
dip. I don't really like
Dude,
having too much sauce. I don't want to like scoop it.
Too much sauce.
It depends. It depends for me. Like if it's Chick-fil-A sauce, I am scooping the ever living
Nah.
shit.
Pretty much
Yeah.
any kind of honey mustard, I scoop. Any kind of ranch, I scoop.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What about,
pretty
like,
much everything? Actually, I'm just a scooper. I'm a sauce scooper.
I'm a scooper, too.
It depends. Like so, if like say I'm eating wings and I usually get like blue cheese or whatever, like I'll dip because I don't want to like slather it, but I want like just enough on it. But like if I'm eating some Chick-fil-A fries or like some chips and salsa or something, I'm scooping the fuck out of it. That's just me personally. I mean,
You gotta get that motion, bro. You gotta
you
get that.
gotta go
swoop
one
motion.
big old swoop, right? Like
You're right.
Yeah, one big old swoop. You gotta come in, on like I would say like a 90-degree angle, and just come right back up. You're making basically basically making a mathematical graph.
To me, food is basically just a utensil used to eat sauce.
Yeah, I think me and you might feel the same way about that. Like, I'm a big sauce guy. Okay,
I'm a
Big sauce guy?
Yeah.
Big sauce
All right,
guy.
big sauce guy.
So,
You're a wing eater, right?
oh, I love wings.
Oh, so what's your pick? Like what sauce? Like
For wings, blue cheese.
okay.
But like, I'm more of a ranch. I like ranch on a lot of things.
Mhm.
Also, like, I mean, this might just be bad, but like, I like mayo too. Like, I'll have like
with
fry-
wings or no?
No. I'm just saying, like, I'll have like fries and
I was
then
about
like
to
dip
say
them in
that's kind
mayo.
of a savage thing to eat.
I was
with
like, that's
wings.
hot take right
No,
there.
no.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, like I'll have
I
like
don't wanna get
fries
into
and
that.
have mayo.
I like
What
mayo
a
a
wing.
lot, but not
Yeah,
fries.
bro, mayo and ketchup together, bro, that fancy sauce? Come on.
Oh,
man.
Oh
yeah.
my
That's some scoopable stuff right there.
Me and Tyler know somebody who every day in elementary school would take all the condiments and mix them together on his tray.
Dude, fancy sauce is legendary.
It like that like legitimately grossed me out. Like this dude had ketchup, mustard, ranch. This dude was a freak. Like Jesus.
Well, yeah, you can't mix them all together.
Yeah, no, that's what he did.
Well, he did it.
Oh yeah, he did it every damn day, like without fail.
Yeah. No, I
Lord,
mean,
Lord knows what he's actually dipping into it.
All right, so Brendy, what's your pick here? Sauce or excuse me, scoop or dip?
I've always been more of a dip kind of guy because like I'm not really into like wings and stuff that much. But like whenever I am using dipping sauce, like I kind of just see dipping sauce as like kind of like a little extra flavor and not and not like an entirely like different taste. You know what I mean? Like I just want like that kind of like extra bit of flavor. that's all.
Extra tang.
see
Yeah.
that's exactly like what Zach said though. Like, even though it was kind of a joke, like having like food is just like, what did you say? Food is just like you're
Like, it's
basically
an
just
excuse to get sauce.
yeah,
it's just
exactly,
devices to eat
essentially.
sauce.
Like that's the difference. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm definitely a scooper. But I just have a quick question to go off something because some people think I'm crazy for this. Like, I'll dip pizza in like ranch. Is that crazy?
Not weird.
Not really.
No.
That's a big Southern thing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not from the
Yeah.
South,
Holy
but
shit.
up in the
Tyler's
north
got
we
his
do
true
it.
calling.
Yeah.
That
Easy to
night,
get on
yeah,
top.
yeah, you got to move south.
You gotta move
that
south.
might not be a big thing up north, but I know that a lot of people do that down here because
He's done that for years.
Oh no, I think yeah, like I've done that for a long time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
people
always
are also
literally
like
do-
crazy over ranch down here.
I will literally see people like roll up their pizza and just shove the whole thing in like a fucking ranch or something.
That's
Pizza
literally
and ranch
me.
burrito.
Yeah.
That's literally what I do.
It's like
okay,
half
just had
of
to
the
ask.
pizza's covered in ranch.
Okay, but now I have to ask this to throw the topic of pizza. Pineapple or no?
No.
No.
Oh, so okay, I'm not gonna.
All right,
no. Calm
We
down.
can't
calm
even
down.
get into this. We can't even get into this.
No,
Yes, we
hold
can.
on. Let me just like say, like, I'm not. I've only had it like once, and it was years ago. All I'm gonna say is, I think people are like way over dramatic about it. I'm not saying I like it. That's all I'm saying.
It's not. It
But-
didn't add that much.
I mean, I actually thought it was okay, but like, I mean, I'm like on the fence about it. Like, I don't.
I can't even like get into this. So I just have a whole debate. Like,
I,
just release my 2 cents on this.
no, I mean, like I said, like I don't. It's not great, but it's not bad. Like it's just okay. But like people are way over dramatic on this. It's,
I
like,
would
insane.
say let's replace the whole the debate on pineapple is cool and all, but my biggest debate would be whether or not anchovies belong in the motherfucker.
Oh.
I cannot stand them.
No, that's
Oh my
anchovies are.
God, dude.
God, we need to move on before. I
So
fucking throw up.
really quick before we move on, I'm just saying on Twitter, I'm adding like a third option. I'm putting dip it, scoop it, or dunk it.
Okay,
Because some
Was that a
people
commercial? Was it like
Probably.
a Speedos commercial?
man.
probably.
Or no, that was definitely like a college football commercial. Like the dunker. Oh yeah,
Right.
it's a
Dipping and dunking is the same thing. I'd argue.
No, it is not.
One is just slightly more extreme.
But like, hold on. Like a dip, I feel like is like you kind of like barely touch it, and you kind of do that like double tap thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like dunking is like you're smashing that thing in there. And then you
Right.
got the rotation.
yeah, it's like getting your toes in the water versus being waist deep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's exactly it.
All right, let's
Exactly.
move on.
I like
Yeah,
it. All
yeah.
right, we're gonna move on to our sports talk this week, which has just been lackluster to say the least. The one thing that did happen early in the week, it might have actually been last week, I'm not sure, but the Karis LeVert injury. I'm sure everybody has seen it at this point. It was nasty. Good news about it, at least, is that surgery will not be needed. It is a dislocated foot, and they actually not plan, but there's a chance he could return to the court at the end of the season sometime, which is crazy after seeing that injury. Yeah, I kind of, we've seen injuries like this in the past on the court. Obviously, the infamous Kevin Ware for Louisville a couple years ago in the tournament. Paul George. I don't know if that was a preseason game or something. I can't even remember
You
that.
talking
But like,
about Paul George?
yeah, that's what I just
That
said. Paul
was
George.
yeah. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
like kind of half listening. It was a USA basketball game.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was like some preseason thing or something. Okay, so what was your guys when you seen this video? I mean, what was your guys' first take on this? Because it looked nasty.
Just flashbacks to Kevin Ware. That's like the immediate
Yeah,
reaction, man. Like anytime I see like a leg go down like that, like the only thing I think of is this an injury like Kevin Ware. And you never, ever, ever, ever want to see that. I can't even. I would never want to be in that position.
I was watching that Kevin Ware game live, and I just
Yep,
seen
so did
things
I.
that I did not need to see.
We rewinded it. We rewinded it because we had family over, and we few of us were freaking out because of what we just saw, and then we're coming like, what? We're showing them, but then like the whole family, like even those not even interested in basketball, are death around the TV watching this guy just shatter his leg.
Yeah, I'm also like one of those like that was to the extreme, but like I'm one of those guys like I don't really want to see injuries like I'm talking like when they do like the
Ooh.
slow motion rewind and you see like fucking like legs being twisted and stuff like that. Like I just don't want to see
If I
that.
remember, they didn't do it with Kevin Ware for obvious reasons.
They were like censoring it out because like it was
Yeah.
so
Like,
graphic.
I don't-
because you could literally see his bone. That's why.
Yeah, because I knew that. I don't
bone out
think
of his
they could
leg.
do a full-on replay. I think they made a show the beginnings of, from what I remember anyway. The broadcast I remember watching, they just held on a lot of the players' reactions, which I'm sure you could tell was just what the
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
But no, I'm happy, and I I thought he did so much worse. I thought he just blew his leg up, but no, he has the opportunity to return at the end of the season.
It quite honestly, like watching it in like real time, like from like the broadcast view, it didn't seem like that bad. But like obviously, like slowing it down, it was like, oh yeah, he's done. But it's nice to hear it's nice to hear that like it's not like extremely severe and like he could be back like by the end of the season.
Right. I mean, it just looked terrible, man. That's all I think. Like even in real time, I thought. I mean, that shit hurts. You landed dead on your ankle. Like,
yeah, it's unfortunate too because he's having a really good season. He's one of the. I mean, I remember him from his days at Michigan. Obviously one of our best players if he made it to the league. But yeah, he's kind of I think well, and something that never got released, me and Brendy were talking about how with the Nets starting rotation this year, there's kind of a lot of guys that need to step up. Like they have a lot of guys in the same skill range, but they, some guys have to step up, and he has. He's averaged 19 points this year. Entering that game. So he's had a really, breakout year, and it's unfortunate to see that. And again, I know I always talk about Michigan, but it's my love there. No, I mean he was a Michigan guy, and never want to see it. But I know the Michigan family, all the guys kind of reached out and all sent stuff to him, and so it's good to see that it wasn't as bad as we first expected, but yeah. It was just not great to look at.
Right. Sad to see.
Yeah. And we will move on to what the fuck is going on with Markelle Fultz?
Oh my god,
So this guy, did he just forget how to play basketball? Like I'm like that's what just happened. Like. He forgot how to shoot a basketball.
But it's the weird thing. Like everyone says that, but it's like that's what got him drafted. Like that's why he's the number one pick is because of how good his shot was.
Yeah, I mean, so there's I mean, if you had watched the game, you would have seen this, but there's a video that I don't know who exactly posted it, but basically, like there's like House of Highlights put out something. This was against the Heat on November 12th. Basically, if you haven't seen the video, Fultz steps up for a free throw and kind of just like does
pump fakes.
Okay, so yeah, there was that. So like he had one game where he literally pump faked the shot. Then you have this game where he's like I don't. How do you even explain
He's doing like a shimmy pump fake.
He's doing exactly. He's like he's basically shimmying the ball up to his shooting hand to be able to shoot, and it's something that I like. What are you doing? Like, are you this much in your head that that something like this happens? Like, I don't get it.
Well, let me watch this real quick, and then I'll give my roast.
Skip to about 30 seconds in of that video that I linked.
Yeah, it's just there's something. So what it looks like this case it was really weird because in this case it looked like I'm talking about the not the one that you linked, Brendy, the one that just happened recently.
Yeah, there's two.
Right, yeah. So I'm talking about the most recent one where he was like kind of juggling the ball in his hands before throwing it up. It looks like that's what his everyone does like a pre thing before they shoot. Like when I played, it was 1-2 pick up, 1-2 shoot. Right.
No, this is what it looks like to me.
I mean,
what it looks like to me. It looks like he's raising up to shoot the free throw. He's like, wait, my arms aren't working. Oh, just kidding. Yeah, they are.
So
why'd you put on your accent there? Oh, not working. Yes.
Only from Marv Albert.
Yep.
You gotta watch the other one that was linked earlier in the week, Zach, because it's worse than that one.
Oh wait, I've got it right here.
Yeah, it's so bad. Like I
This is it.
don't get it. Like
It's against the Jazz.
yeah, like this is his quote unquote routine. But like, how does anybody even come up with this? Um,
And in case I was wondering what we're exactly looking at, it's his free throw against the Heat that was on November 12th, and this was against the Hornets yesterday.
no, it was the Jazz.
Jazz, sorry.
Couple
Okay,
days ago.
so
Yeah.
quick question for you guys: Have you ever played Foursquare?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
No, Ty, you definitely have.
Well, so
Foursquare.
there
Oh,
was
yes, I have. Okay, never mind.
Go
Sorry.
say.
yeah. So there was this rule in Foursquare. It was kind of like optional. It was called pop. It was called
That's not like
popcorn.
very much of a rule there.
No. It was called popcorn.
It's like a house rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, the popcorn rule was like you could kind of like bobble the ball in your hands as long as you weren't holding it. But it was like whoever was king like decided whether popcorn was allowed or not. And that's kind of what Markelle Fultz looks like he's doing. He's like playing fucking popcorn at the free throw line.
There's no one's gonna ever know the answer on what exactly happened to him. No one's gonna ever know. Like, some people are blaming him getting in his head, which is possible. Some are blaming whatever that personal coach he worked with is, and that's also possible too. That's my theory anyway.
I think it's that coach.
I think it is too, but I have no proof about it. Like, it just there was something weird about them too from the get go. Like, even before this really all started happening, like the fact that he was working with this guy and was so like religiously following this guy, that something seemed off. But like, I'm confused of what exactly he taught him. Like, that's the thing here. Like, what exactly is he teaching him? He's like, okay, hey, that shot that got you the #1 pick? Let's change it. Let's change that free throw shot. Just because, I really want to mess up your career. Like, how do you possibly teach something like that to somebody?
Top comment on the YouTube video says, "I want that animation on 2K."
Unless he comes back, after he like retires or something in like a book, like it'll be called "What Happened," and if I did it, and he'll talk like some traumatic event happened or something. Like, I don't know, but
dude, I would go to his book signing.
Here's the thing. I can't blame him right now, especially with all of it, because he knows damn well, and maybe he knows too much, that when he gets on the charity line, he has all the eyes in the fucking NBA on him at that line, like every single time. And I know, like, in the game, you're supposed to be trained to kind of tear that stuff out, but sometimes you just can't. Especially with how much buzz he's had with this for the past year or so, how many interviews he's done or avoided, how many articles are written. Like, he's not stupid. I keep saying, players are not stupid. They know what's being said out there. So he's either way in his own head and just that's the result, or there is something really wrong with his muscle memory.
Yeah, I know I've talked to you guys about this before, and I might have talked about it on the podcast, so I'll just say it quickly. The infamous thing I remember about Fultz is when he was dealing with that shoulder injury. I'm watching the Philadelphia news, and they're like, they're doing a piece on Fultz, and they're like, oh, he's getting back. He's progressing. He's shooting a lot better. And as they're talking over this, they're showing a video of him. He is no more than he's basically under the rim. No more than 4 feet away from the rim, and he shoots and airballs it. And that's what the video they were talking about over him. Them saying, "Oh, he's progressing" and stuff like that.
Totally progressing.
Yeah.
So
I guess everybody's talking about him being a bust and stuff like that. Is this something you guys can see him turn around? I mean, this is we've seen bust in the past, but this is ridiculous. Like, he literally, just like I said, it looks like he forgot to play basketball. Is this something you think he can turn around? And I don't even. I was gonna say, like, live up to be the #1 pick, but at this point, just be able to play basketball at the way he's supposed to again.
He's interesting to me because all right, we haven't really talked about it yet, but Butler being signed to the 76ers in a trade,
Yeah.
So he's with the Sixers now, right? and that puts Fultz a little bit on the hot seat here, right? So because now he's Butler's being looked at as essentially his replacement, and deservedly so, really. So at this point, I gotta wonder if the office is looking for something for Fultz. Now, the original thought is, okay, who would take Markelle Fultz with the issues he's having right now? I would argue that if there's a deal going to be made for him, people are looking at him and, dude, if he turns this around, he's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason he was the number one pick. Like, there's a reason. And when his shot is on, it's on.
Over LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not LeVar. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, fucking
50-year-old return to the NBA.
Yeah, I was thinking of all the Ball brothers at the same time and their fucking dad. So
Lonzo, yeah. No,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of like memes going around, like of the Sixers get Butler, and they're showing like people saying what Markelle Fultz is thinking, but like I don't know. I mean, I think this guy he's got the potential. Like you can't. I don't think you can give up on a number one pick as quickly as
Wow.
Like I know he's getting a lot of hate, but I mean, I might be in the minority here, and I watch as much Sixers as I can, and I've been watching a lot recently with what's going on with Butler and stuff like that, getting traded there. But I actually don't like, besides like the videos you see with him in the free throw line, like I actually like he's been getting better. Like he's been, in my opinion, he's been playing better overall. Like his game is starting to progress. Like I know a lot of people are talking negatively about him, but like if you're also seeing the stuff like everybody wants you to see. Like in game, he's actually been getting better. I don't think you can give up on a guy this quickly. Yes, this is one of the craziest things I've seen in sports with like a guy just forgetting how to shoot. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think you just got to give it time, and if he works out, you got a starting five that would be like it would be like Fultz, Redick, Embiid, Simmons, and Butler somehow. Like it would be something in that range. I mean, I don't know. They probably still have Fultz coming off the bench, but something like that. Because you gotta get big men out there. But yeah,
look at the numbers. He's at least touching the damn ball.
Yeah.
He had a couple double digit games here and there and points wise. He's got some decent rebound numbers. Few assists here and there. I mean, at least he's getting his hands on the ball. It's just a matter of him being the point scorer they know he is.
Yeah, like I said, actually watching the game, I think he's progressing. It's just everybody's kind of hating on him at this point. But yeah, for Philly's sake, yeah, I hope. I mean, for our sake too, I hope he turns around, because not only did they pick him number one, they also moved up to get him. Like this could set them back a lot if he doesn't work out. But yeah,
don't get something. To me, it feels like that even if they do decide like, all right, we're gonna kind of dump him here, see if we can give him to somebody else. I feel like they'll still get something for him. Maybe not what they think Markelle Fultz should have been, but definitely something.
Like they'll get something just based on like he has the potential to be this, but like they won't get like what they should. Like they won't get a fair value kind of thing, because he just hasn't shown anything.
Right, I agree.
All right, we move away from basketball to touch on what is breaking news on this Sunday. Essentially, Joe Flacco is out for the Ravens, so that means Lamar Jackson is he's going to be playing today against the Bengals. We've seen him throughout the season doing a bunch of fucking, I don't even know what's happening. Like, I think me and Brendy actually had a discussion on this off air a couple of days ago. I think it was me and Brendy, basically talking about how, like, whenever he's in, he's not throwing the ball. He's running an option. He's doing some reverse bullshit. Like, you have to have that threat of throwing the ball. Well, he's going to be tested this week. Like, obviously, we know he's a quarterback. He can throw it, but like every time he comes in, or he's come into the games this year. They haven't thrown it. They've done some option with him where he's running it or the running back's running it, whatever.
It's really like John Harbaugh is just like completely rewriting his script.
I think it's a mental thing. It's to kind of throw the defense off a little bit because here's a quarterback. Here's a second-string quarterback. Okay, what's he gonna do?
But like that's the thing. It's the same thing with the Saints with Taysom Hill. Like when they come, like they obviously can throw at their quarterbacks, but whenever they come in, they never have the threat of like I guess the threat's there because they're quarterbacks. But there hasn't been one play this year where they've thrown it out of when they've come in. So like I don't know. It's just it was just something me and Brendy were talking about. But anyway, yeah, Lamar Jackson will play. He is, I believe, he'll be the out of the first round picks this year for QBs, he'll be the last one to start. I'm trying to think. You got Rosen starting for Arizona. You got Darnold. Allen was playing. Baker Mayfield. So yeah, I think he would be the last one to start. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Cincinnati. I think that game is in Cincinnati. I want to say maybe not. I'm not sure. Okay, go ahead.
Are we looking at a Dak Prescott situation?
What, like, with him? But like Lamar Jackson's supposed to be that Flacco replacement. Like, so like.
Right. But like, is it going to be it comes earlier than they thought?
Yeah. By the way, just that game's in Baltimore. By the way, just to correct myself, but Flacco has gotten a lot of flack, but
Get the fuck off the stage!
No, but he's gotten a lot of shit over the past years, and deservedly so. His numbers haven't been great, but this year he's actually played really well, and I think a lot of people were expecting Lamar Jackson, maybe, come in this year and play under Flacco, and then get some reps, and then maybe do something next year or the year after where he starts, but Flacco's played really well this year, and has brought the Ravens, I should say, to a better record than I think most people expected, except maybe Bobby, with that playoff call. But no, I think he'd have to do something really special today. Like throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then if Flacco's fully healthy next week, you have to play him with how he's played this year. Like I said, Lamar Jackson have to do something really special to do that. And you know what? It's possible with how bad Cincinnati's defense played last week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. It's interesting. Like I said, he's played a lot this year with the options and stuff like that they've been running, but nothing throwing wise. So we'll kind of see how that works this year. But yeah,
kind of excited for him, honestly.
Yeah, I want to. It's always nice to see. It's the future of our league. Like the NFL's a quarterback league, and there's this past draft class with the NFL with quarterbacks is one of the best ones we've seen in a while, or projected at least, with Darnold and Mayfield and Rosen and all those guys. So I think I think it's going to be something to watch out for with him, and he had a great career at Louisville, so we'll see how that kind of progresses for him. We move on to some NHL talk. This one is it's interesting, and I'll get to it in a second, but Tom Wilson was suspended in the preseason for a hit on Oscar Sundqvist.
In the preseason.
Yeah.
Just want to point this out.
Yeah, and we all know Tom Wilson, he gets a lot of shit, rightfully so. Like, he does a lot of things, and he got it was a 20 game, right? It was 20 or 21. I forget.
21, I think.
It was a 21 game suspension that he got for the hit on Sundqvist. And last week it was reduced to 15 games, and which at that point he was able to return immediately because it was after the 15th game. So he's back, and obviously people are upset about that. Now, the thing I want to bring up, which is very interesting about this story, and I want to get the arbitrator's name if I can, but this is the same arbitrator. So it's a neutral arbitrator for these things, and it's the same arbitrator that reduced the suspension on the Austin Watson suspension with the domestic violence or domestic dispute thing. It's the same arbitrator that did that. Actually, can you guys, Bobby, can you look it up for me? It's like I think the name is like I know the last name is Das. It's DAS. I think it's like Shaheem Das. I don't know much about them. But yes, the thing I wanted to mention about this is, again, this is the second one where it's been a reduction, and the NHL isn't happy about this one either. But the arbitrator who did it is the same one that reduced.
Pardon me trying to say this and not butcher it. Shyam Das.
Okay, yeah.
Shyam Das.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say it's like yeah, something like that. So
Shyam Das. Yes.
Yeah. So
Wait,
but
what
yeah,
is it, Tyler?
I don't know. Shaham Das. I don't know.
I don't know.
Shaham Das?
But that's his name. SHYAMDAS. DAS.
Is it even a guy? I don't even. I
I
Shaham Das.
couldn't freaking tell you, to be quite honest. But let me look anyway.
Yeah, let's
keep going. I got this.
No, I will. I'm interested because, again, like if it was one case, that's fine. But this is the second case where a suspension has been reduced.
I'm not finding him. That's all I'm saying right now. Wait a second. Hold on.
Are we gonna have some juicy
stories? Is this the same
right
guy?
Yeah,
No. I found another incident. Hold on. Okay, if I'm reading this correctly, he worked for the MLB.
Okay, so
I'm looking at an article from May 15th, 2012 on ESPN. And it says MLB fires arbitrator Shyam Das. Major League Baseball management has fired Shyam Das, the arbitrator who overturned Ryan Braun's drug suspension in February.
Oh.
Is this real? Is this the same guy? Has to be, right?
I mean, with a name like that.
Has to be.
That's really interesting.
Wow.
That's interesting.
So
let me see if I find any more. This is juicier than we thought it was.
Yeah, like I said,
God,
I remember the name from the Austin Watson suspension. Like I remember that very clearly with the same one. I didn't know that. I mean, like I said, it's a neutral arbitrator, so I mean, it's not surprising that he. I'm assuming it's he. It might be a she. I don't know. Again, with a name like that, but whoever they. I'm assuming they work for other leagues and stuff like that. If they're working for the NHL, but that's interesting. It's not something that I expected to talk about. But yeah, like I just don't. I don't get it. Like I really don't. Like this guy is a repeat offender. We know everything about this guy. Tom Wilson, this is I'm talking about. Like. We know that the incidents he's had, the head hunting, he does it in the as Bobby said, the pre-season.
Pre-season.
It's just ridiculous. And then and I don't know what's worse. Like I'm gonna go with like Austin Watson. Like this guy had a domestic case, and that got reduced as well. So,
right. This is weird. This is so weird. According to another article I'm reading, he also had time in the NFL. Can't find anything notable on that, but what in the hell?
This guy's all over the place.
If I can, okay, so I'll get back on track here because this really isn't totally about the arbitrator. I know this guy obviously has a very, 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 very questionable history with their calls, but that hit was terrible.
Yeah,
that hit was terrible. Like I'm always and I said this when we were doing the hot take episode, right? Like, I mean, I was talking about the NFL then, but I try to give every player the benefit of the doubt with hits like this, because to me, it's like everyone's so quick to kind of call on it, and I guess you kind of have to with the state of both games this time around. Concussions being treated a little bit differently. We'll get to that in a second. Mm-hmm. But this hit was one of those where it's like, what in the hell were you going for? Like, you went like shoulder up on this guy's head.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. And this guy's a repeat offender. Like, I don't see exactly what the 6-game reduction was really for.
So
I quite don't get it.
I got an argument for you guys here. Right. Or a question, There's been some suggestions from around the NHL world after this, suggesting essentially that a player should be suspended for as long, like if they injure somebody, for as long as the player is out with injury.
Oh,
I mean,
that is such a problem. So. That is such a problematic way of doing it. Like, to me.
I'm just proposing the question because, like I said, that's a lot of people were, because Sundqvist just came back not too long ago.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I don't even know what his actual injury was, the final thing about it, but he just came back like a couple weeks, like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I want to say, and this happened in September. So, yeah, a lot of people were kind of suggesting that, and it's an interesting topic, I guess. Like, I obviously see like it's very problematic.
It's very problematic.
But like, it is interesting to think about. At least with
then Bertuzzi would have never seen the ice again.
Well,
which I'm sure doesn't.
But like I'm saying, like, should he have, like, if you actually think about it, like, I mean, that was one of the most infamous plays in the NHL, and like that ended a guy's career.
That's kind of a different case, right? Like this, like Bertuzzi straight up sucker punched him, like that, like clear as day, no question, straight up sucker punched him. This was essentially, these head hits or body checks that kind of go wrong, right? I mean, that's kind of what they are. I mean. We could argue all day whether or not one of them was intentional or not. I mean, yada, 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 whatever. But, there's a problem with those kind of things, because one of those hits will end somebody's career if it hasn't already. It will do it. It will happen, depending on how the NHL kind of treats the concussions. Again, like I said, we will get to that. But I don't know. You would have to take that case by case every single time, because you never know with somebody, right? Like, do they actually mean to do it? I give players benefit of the doubt. I'm sure, 99.9% of players are not looking for head, right? Like, they're not trying to go for somebody's head and knock them out cold or injure them or give them a concussion or whatever. It just kind of happens. Right. Like even on boarding calls, right? So you remember Bellemare 2 years ago when he was still a Flyer, where he hit somebody dead on the numbers, and his head went to the boards. As soon as he hit him, he knew what he did. Like, he kind of was like, "Crap, I didn't mean to do that." Like, and as soon as the guy came up to him, he's like, "Yep, I'm sorry. I know." Like, I can think of that. It's like, I think most of the time players don't mean to do it. It just kind of happens, like, in the heat of the game. I'm not trying to give him an excuse. I'm just saying you really have to take this kind of things case by case. In this case, like I said, this was so stupid of a hit that I thought 20 games was pretty well deserved, especially for someone like Tom Wilson, the repeat offender that he is. So,
I get it. It's a fast game, and like that's why a lot of these things happen. It was just kind of something that people were talking about, and I just had to.
I'm not happy with it either. I mean, to me. It's like, okay, what does the guy have to legitimately murder somebody at this point? He's basically, discount Brad Marchand at this point. Like, dirty player, goes for these hits, has a history. what does the guy have to do to just finally be like, all right, look, here's 40 games. See ya.
Hey, Joe, and like, if that's what it takes, like, I'm just, and that might be on the extreme, but like these guys that you hear about all the time, you got Marchand, you got Wilson, are like the two notable ones where you get suspensions all the time. It's, I'm not gonna say suspensions are something that happens less nowadays, because that's not true. But like, the NHL is changing, and you had a lot of guys years ago that, when the game was still very, a lot of fighting and physical. You had a lot of guys. Matt Cook was a dirty player. Like a lot of these guys that are now extinct from the NHL. So you don't have per se like as many repeat offenders, I guess. But yeah, I think you got to lay the law down. Like at some point, like, um, if Wilson in the next couple of days lays another hit, just throw the book at him. Suspend him for 50 games if it's that bad.
You got to say this about Tom Wilson though. As much as and even Caps fans hate his contract that he just got over the summer. Gotta give him credit where credit is due. He knows the Washington front office knows exactly what he does and what kind of player he is.
Yeah, he's a role player. Like he's good in his role.
Yep, he is. He's a good goal scorer? Not really. Is he a good playmaker? Not really. Is he good at antagonizing the other team? Abso-fucking-lutely. That is exactly why he got the contract he had, because he can play physical. He's the physical guy. He's basically he's at Ovi and Kuznetsov back, right? Like that's his job. Like that's his job is to go out there, piss off as many people as he possibly can, go to the bench, rinse and repeat every single time.
Mm-hmm.
That's his job. And listen, I like the whole, I like the kind of old time hockey attitude, but don't be going for the head, man. I mean, stop. It's not.
Yeah.
Stop, man. I mean, as much as like I said, I give players benefit of the doubt, and I want to see each hit that calls for suspensions like this. That was so blatant. Stop.
Yeah. I don't know. Leads to injuries, and with that, we kind of transition to another NHL story.
Fucking weird.
So the NHL, there was a concussion lawsuit against the NHL, which has just been settled, but it's very I don't know. To me, it's almost like a slap in the face. So there was a lawsuit filed by more than 100 former NHL players, basically saying that the NHL was neglecting their head injuries, and they were just kind of they weren't taking like head injuries serious enough and long-term head injuries. So they reached a settlement, but it, in my opinion, it's a slap in the face. So, like I said, over 100 NHL players, basically, it was what, $19 million, you said, right?
It is the official total for it is $18.9 million.
Okay, so
the equivalent of putting $9.99 on a fucking sailboard.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
That's what that is.
Now I'm gonna read this, and this article is from ESPN. It's Emily Kaplan, who I know does NHL stuff. And I want you guys to break this down for anybody. Or Bob, I know Bobby, you probably know a lot about this, but the settlement. This is a direct quote, by the way, from the article. The settlement calls for a payment of at least $22,000 for settling plaintiffs and settling unfiled claims. Besides the cash payout, the NHL settlement involves neurological testing and assessment for players paid for by the league, as well as an administrative fund to pay for the cost and up to $75,000 in medical treatment. Excuse me, for players who test positive on 2 or more tests. The settlement also calls for a common good fund that would support retired players in need. That would include players who did not participate in the allegation. So, the NHL also agreed to pay almost $7 million in plaintiff legal fees. So, I mean, I said slap in the face, but they're getting it. Just I don't know. To me, it's just like a low ball number. Am I crazy for that? I don't know.
Well, for reference, the NFL settlement that they had was $1 billion. Just
Okay,
for reference.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So here's the problem, right? I mean, it feels weird. It feels dirty. Like I don't know. I don't know, man. It something just feels off with this whole thing. I mean, so that common good fund, I like that idea. It's supposed to be that it'll help the players, even those who weren't even involved in the lawsuit by any means, to with medical needs and stuff like that after the game. Who I've been seeing a lot of talk from about this. Daniel Carcillo has been doing a lot of advocacy work for players with concussion and mental health issues and such. It literally, the NHL can look in the mirror and see the NFL. Like the two leagues treated concussions in not the best of ways. Just kind of either tossing it under the rug or playing the point the finger game or whatever. 18 million. That's it. That does seem low. Something about it seems low. But here's the thing, part of the settlement was, that the plaintiff, the players who sued them, agreed to this too. So I mean, if that's what they thought they could get, and maybe that's what they thought they could squeeze out of the NHL, okay, that's fine. That leaves the NHL in a better spot, because that means the NHL leaves with no, more criminal investigations about it. Something just seems so off with this. I don't even know how to explain it. It just, something seems so off.
By the way, in the article too, it says there was 146 names listed as plaintiffs in the NHL settlement. So it said over 100. That's, I don't know. Just to me, it just seemed like seems a little low to me, and I know they're saying about paying for stuff and all that, but this the NHL, I mean, is basically conceded at this point, saying how they and I'm saying this in terms of how they're treating concussions and stuff like that now, and I know that things have advanced, and there's more knowledge about concussions now and CTE research and stuff like that, but all they're doing now is kind of saying what they fucked up on in the past, essentially, with not treating it right. Like, I remember back in the day, and like, this is how fucked up it was. Like, guy has a concussion, like, he's probable for the next game. Like,
right.
Are you like now? All the testing and stuff like that. And if they do come up positive for a concussion, they're sitting out for a while. And it's crazy. Like, the times have definitely changed, but like, I don't know. I feel like it should just be more just in terms of like the NHL knows they fucked up on this. And you see it with, like Bobby mentioned, Daniel Carcillo.
He's not happy. He is not happy.
No.
And deservedly so. I mean,
but I mean, he's talked about the struggles he's had. I mean, he was one of the fighters in the league, and something we can maybe talk about in the future is, does fighting still belong in the NHL? I mean, like, there's just a lot, and he's talked about his struggles, and it's a lot. It's crazy, just how much they neglected, I guess.
This is interesting. So they in the class action lawsuit, there was apparently there was the potential that what was it? I'm trying to read this correctly. Which is it?
Yeah, no problem.
There was there was a bid for a class action status of this lawsuit, but that didn't happen. If that happened, there could have been 5,000 former players join the case, because the stipend was that or stipulation was that If it turned class action, that means that any retired player who got diagnosed with some type of neurological disease, any kind of neurological disease, disorder, or condition, would have been able to win the lawsuit. Now, if that happened, the payout would be immediately bigger. So I'm curious why the bid did not go through. That's interesting.
Right.
The judge denied it for one reason or another. And the idea, so the main idea, in case we haven't mentioned already, is that the NHL was they did not warn players of risks, which while promoting violent play, because there's fighting, there's big hits, there's especially back in the day, it was the grinders were tearing people to shreds, and then they going after everybody on the ice or in the stands if you're Boston. But
yeah, I swear, the NHL is literally a different game now than it looks like two different sports from what it was back in the day, the 80s, 90s. I mean, even to some extent, early 2000s to what it is now. Crazy.
And I'll say this much, and I know said we can talk about this another time, but fighting, I still think it belongs in the NHL. To me, that's just something that's going to be. Here's the thing, right? I mean, it seems like just how fast-paced hockey is. There's always something to stand up to your teammate for your teammate for, right? So even snowing the goalie, you have a scrum in front of the net, and I don't see why that's a terribly bad thing, right? If you start having people, you start taking away fighting, and you have guys still boarding people, and you can't stand up for your teammate, that's not going to fly. It's just not going to happen that way, because then you're going to get more suspensions for a single hit because somebody has to stand up for their teamate. You know what I mean? To me, it belongs in the game.
I think people are trying to make it too too black and white. Essentially,
it is.
I think there's more to it. I'm not saying I'm on this side. I'm kind of still deciding what how I feel about this, because I think there's more than just it's bad and stuff like that. There's a lot to it. But yeah, I think
interesting. NHL settled, players settled. It is probably not the best that could have happened out of this. But at the end of the, I feel bad for the players that were affected, especially those retired. They're dealing with concussions, such as Daniel Carcillo, who is kind of a mess. But he's had at least a better head on his shoulders than some others, where he's been able to kind of fight for them, and it's a good thing what he's doing.
Right.
So something came out of this. What I hope for in the future is that the NHL kind of takes it going for. I mean, measures have been made already for these kind of things. The head hits are really getting cracked down on now. You can't argue with that. They're reviewed every single time. They're getting forced out of the game. So they're doing something, right? It's a good start. There's still some more that could probably be done, but the one thing I will say, and I keep saying this with the NFL in terms of the head hits that happened there. I mentioned earlier that did not warn the players of such risks. I mean, that has to do with the fact that most players didn't really understand how concussions worked, but the NHL sure is going to know how they work.
I mean, again, I think it's also just a case of how things have progressed. This, this whole CTE thing that's kind of come up in the last few years. Yeah, I think it's just there's more to know about it now than there was back when this was I don't think you can deny back in the 80s, they didn't know what about CTE and the concussions and all that like they do now. It's just how research has gone. But
but it's a fast game, man. These things, concussions are going to happen. You cannot, unless you want to put bubble wrap on everybody, you're not going to take away concussions. You can enforce rules that can help prevent it, right? So the NHL, basically said, okay, a head hit is no longer a clean hit, and they are throwing the book at anybody who goes to those hits. Look at Tom Wilson; it was just the arbitrator screwing him up. Those hits are very, very, very much frowned upon, and that's a very good thing. I think that's the biggest thing, right? I mean, I'm still for fighting being in the game. it was the hits that are the problem. You're not going to stop the speed of the game, but you can at least do some certain things that can allow for to keep players at least somewhat safe. And I think saying, look, we're going to throw the book at you if you start going for the head like this, or we're going to toss you, right?
Yeah.
And even on the boarding where it's 5, I think that's the step in the right direction.
All right. Yeah, I think maybe it's something to monitor for the future, but we are going to move on. So after some discussion, we're kind of going to expand the podcast, and we touched on this we touched on our, I guess, fandom for music in the hot take episode we did. It's something we want to talk about. Zach, in particular, is a music guru, I guess would be the word, especially rap.
Knowledge and expands multiple genres.
Yeah, no, but we wanted to add, and also kind of get Zach his own segment. So I'm gonna toss it over to him. Kind of just a little music talk here. So Zach, go ahead.
I just want to start out with talking about some releases that are coming out before the end of this month. And I wish I could have gotten started at the beginning of this month because there was a lot of good stuff, but we'll try that in December.
Mm-hmm.
So notable rap albums still left to release. Or actually, I do want to mention Jaden Smith's album, which came out on Friday. That's really hype. Everyone knows who Jaden Smith is, the son of Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually a pretty decent rapper. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan. Like, his music is good, but I'm not a fan personally. But that doesn't mean I think it's bad.
Right. I mean, is he also in a like a rock band of some kind now?
I haven't heard anything about that. If he
is, keep talking. I gotta find this, but he has another music project that he's involved with.
JID coming with DiCaprio 2. JID was a good friend of Mac Miller's, so he's. I don't know if I don't really know any of their history, so I don't know if Mac Miller kind of helped put him on, or I'm sort of ignorant to that. But he has some good music coming out there, and then last rap album I want to mention is Street Gossip coming from Atlanta rapper Lil Baby.
Lil Baby. Lil Baby, I know nothing about this guy.
No,
I actually like him a lot. He's got some hits coming. He's got some hits out there.
It's just the name that gets me every time.
These little names kill me, man.
Well,
little fucking Yachty.
There's this guy that's coming up in Atlanta right now. His name's Lil House Phone.
Fucking what?
Yeah.
Dude, oh my god, I cringe.
Playboy Cardi is my favorite one.
Playboy Cardi.
Yeah.
Or anyone with a 21.
All right. Moving on. There wasn't really any good metal albums coming out. There's only one notable band dropping, and that's progressive metal band Cattle Decapitation with their new album Medium Rarities.
How do you like your cow?
They're one of those meme progressive metal bands where they don't they kind of recognize that the lyrics are sort of silly in the sense that they're overly gory and horror and stuff.
Mm-hmm. But that's kind of their charm.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people like them. I mean, it's not something I'm totally into, but I can appreciate what they're doing.
But as far as their instrumentals go, man, they freaking shred.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Like they are high velocity
so and
high speed, full on, just fucked up the guy next to you.
Seriously, man, there's so many good bands out there like that. We got Rings of Saturn, personal favorite. All four albums they've done. All four albums they've done have been masterpieces.
They're great, and they're a full on instrumental group. They're great.
They have vocals.
For I haven't seen any other stuff with the vocal stuff.
Rings of Saturn?
Yeah.
They have a few instrumentals, but most of their stuff is with vocals.
Oh, okay. I don't think I get in the full and listen.
Really quick, does anyone have Wikipedia open right now?
What?
Why would I have Wikipedia open? But I definitely.
Yeah, dude, I just got Wikipedia open. Just all the
it's my pin tab.
Yeah.
Well, no, like I like randomly look through like what y'all are talking about, like as y'all are talking about it. But I was searching Playboy Cardi on Wikipedia to see if he had like a Wikipedia page, and I misspelled it. I entered it in like this, and
Oh yeah, you failed.
if you no, listen. If you enter that into Wikipedia, look at the first search result.
Oh, I'm curious now. You gotta be curious. Oh shit.
Okay, here we go.
It's the
Oh,
best
God.
fucking thing.
Oh no.
Look at the first result.
Hold on.
It's just a YouTube video. I'll link to a YouTube
Naked
video.
Women's Wrestling League. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Bro, what?
The NWWL.
I think we've uncovered something awesome, boys.
No, you haven't, because it's been fucking defunct in 2009. It's gone.
Oh,
You could
man.
probably still find a video of it somewhere. I'm just saying.
I mean,
Jesus-
you know, I
Jesus
gotta click on
Christ.
a link now. Like, why I just need this?
Jesus Christ, Jimmy Hart, it was still on. Was a promoter for the show. Jesus,
For real.
fucking yes.
That's awesome.
Carmen Electra hosted the goddamn show. Are you joking?
Isn't Jimmy Hart like 80 years old though?
He's he's Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Can we
All
talk
right,
about the? Hold on.
He's 75.
And I don't want to go off track on this, but now that we found this, I need to talk about the roster. Some of the names. We got Angel of Desire. We got let's see, Cleopatra, Dark Angel, Cruella, Demonica Disco,
Let's not forget my favorite, Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, yeah,
Twin Peaks.
Tiny Tina, Trish the Dish. Wow, what a name! Wait a second, this might be the best one. Spitney Beers, the sister of Britney Spears. Okay, all right. Let's. All
right, back to music.
Yeah, that's a weird find. I know.
So yeah, Cattle Decap, Rings of Saturn, all great bands. One thing, as while I'm still on metal, I did want to mention was August Burns Red Christmas albums. Very important to Christmas season.
Ah, yes.
Very important to the Christmas season. It gives a nice, fresh Christmas song sound that's not annoying to listen to, because they actually put their own take on it. So it's has some parts that are, they kind of like do their own solos and like sort of like write their own melodies a little bit, but they mostly stay on track with the original like Christmas songs.
Yeah.
So they had their first full album that came out in 2014, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just put out a brand new Christmas EP, which I'm very excited about. It features 6 songs. We've got Avalanche, It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, Winter Wilderness, the Home Alone theme, Green Sleeves, and Last Christmas. So,
Merry Christmas, you filthy. I know.
Bunch of metal bangers out right now.
August Burns Red is top tier, man. I mean, those been very good.
Man, I've seen them live 3 times, I think.
Yeah, I have yet to be blessed with their presence in a live venue.
They're so good, man.
I will eventually.
I got to see them on a December tour one time, and they played some of their Christmas songs. I got to see them play "Carol of the Bells" and "Oh Man."
Oh my god, I can only imagine they're gonna play that. Like they gotta go like on like Times Square or something during Christmas season and start playing those songs.
Yeah, you've never seen people moshing to Christmas music.
Yeah, until now.
until now.
As August Burns Red releases their new Christmas EP.
But yeah, so check out all that music because it's really fucking good. And it'll give you something fresh to listen to for the Christmas season.
Yeah, this is going to be a good topic for me because I'm always looking for something new. Because I get tired of my music pretty quickly. So, love to hear some new stuff. So, definitely go check out Cattle Decapitation. Definitely go do that.
Last little. Sorry, go ahead, Bobby. I cut you off, kind of.
No, I was saying definitely go check out Cattle Decapitation. Might check out Jaden Smith. I had to be in a certain mood for that, but we'll see how that goes. Go ahead.
Awesome. All right. Last genre I want to talk about is electronic music. I only have one album for this coming out, or it actually is out now. It's Dead Mouse. Mouseville Level 2 was a surprise release on Friday.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Okay.
So Dead Mouse surprise release. That's always good to see. I enjoy surprise releases. I can't talk right now.
That's
but it's always fun because it sort of. One of the things I like about surprise releases is that it doesn't give you any expectations for the album.
Mm.
And that was something that Eminem did with his latest album, Kamikaze.
Just what I was gonna say.
Where he was saying that he, Revival was like so hyped up, and then it was just not that good.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, well, this time I'm just gonna put out an album as a surprise, because then, he doesn't really need to market himself. He's already done that for years and years.
And
so if he drops a project, people are gonna hear about it.
And I'm gonna diss everybody in the industry while doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, why the hell not? He was pissed. I mean, he was obviously pissed. I would encourage everybody to watch deadmau5's live streams on Twitch. He's been away recently because I know he's been dealing with some health matters. So he's been taking care of that, so he hasn't been streaming a lot recently. But he does stream himself frequently making music, even making visuals for his infamous Cube.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool to me. Or if he's not doing that, he's playing PUBG or Blackout or any of that. Mainly PUBG. PUBG's typically his game. He's definitely a very blunt dude, but you gotta respect him. And it's really interesting to see him work and what he's dealing with. But he definitely knows his shit. So I would encourage everybody to go watch this and shout out to deadmau5. And his music is fantastic.
I've never had a chance to see him live, but I've seen like live streams of his live performances,
and
his visuals are insane, man.
Yep.
Like, I don't even know how to describe what it is. I'll see if I can find a picture to post. But
they're nuts. They're absolutely nuts. He's and here's the thing, and you got to go watch Linus Tech Tips on YouTube. Did a whole video showing off his deadmau5's house and studios that he has, and first of all, his studio is insane. Let's start with that. The studio he works in is nuts. That's not hard to find a picture of because that's where he's always live streaming from. But he knows how to do he does a lot of the visuals himself. Like, it's him and a few other guys putting together the visuals for his show and putting them all together and syncing them up and everything like that. He's so on top of things, and he's a very creative dude. He's one of the creators I highly respect.
Him and Bass Nectar are like the kings.
Oh yeah, I mean, to me, deadmau5 is top for me, man. I love the dude. I gotta go see him live as well. Curious to see. He's also a huge meme lord live.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he is.
He's hilarious. Like, you should go see whenever he has to play Ghost and stuff. He's so tired of that song.
I'm sure he is.
So he just ends up memeing the hell out of it. There's one clip where he had like a fake news report. He's like, play Ghost and stuff. I'm gonna play Ghosts and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna play it. Relax. I'm gonna play Ghosts and stuff. I have no choice but to play Ghosts and stuff.
That's a thing that Bass Nectar does not do. He doesn't play his popular songs all the time.
No shit.
I've seen him 9 times now. I've never seen him play Basshead.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and there's a few of his hits that I've never seen him play. Like, I've never seen him play Basshead, like I just said. I've never seen him play Wild Style Method.
I guess
those are 2 really big songs from Bass Nectar.
I guess with electronic music is a little different, right? It's like you go to a rock show, right? You go to a rock show and they have to play all the hits, right? Like, they have to play all the hits.
The thing with DJs is they often play other DJ music. They usually don't just play their own. It's more about the mixing rather than the going to hear their songs.
Right. I mean, the damn shows are basically a rave. Like, it's a dance party is what it is. I mean, right. It's a lot different. So they don't really need to play the hits. I think deadmau5 is a little bit different because his music particularly spans a little bit outside of electronic. So his most recent album, which was Where's the Drop, was a full-on orchestra album. Like, he got together with an orchestra and did songs and combined those 2 elements. So his songs aren't exactly all. I mean, he does when you see him live, he does do all the mixing. Like, he'll go on for 40 minutes without stopping, just playing random samples. But he'll have to play his hits. He'll have to play Ghost and stuff because I mean that chorus is infamous. But you know, in electronic music, you can definitely get away with not playing the hits and just kind of just doing your own thing up there. It doesn't matter. A lot of people are there for the show anyway, especially for a guy like Bass Nectar.
Yeah, definitely.
So I hate to cut you guys off, but I just got some news, and I don't even know what to say about this.
Oh, you got me free.
It's not bad. It's the Browns, the Cleveland Browns. We all know and love them. This is the headline: Browns want to interview Condoleezza Rice for head coaching job.
What?
Well,
wait a second.
I just got that. Browns.
I'm looking at it now.
This is from Adam Schefter. Browns general manager John Dorsey said last week that he was opening to hire a woman as Cleveland's next head coach. And this would be a prominent one. The Browns would like to interview former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice for their head coaching job. A league source tells ESPN.
What?
If the Browns followed through on their plans, Rice would become the first woman ever to interview for an NFL head coaching job.
Does she have literally any sports history?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
So what I'm reading right now is that she's besides being a fan, she's apparently a lifelong Browns fan. She's been
wait. She's on the college football playoff committee.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, is she? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't totally out there.
Or she was. I don't know if she is anymore.
But okay, so she's apparently a lifelong Browns fan. There was also speculation that she could take over as NFL commissioner. Apparently, according to the ESPN article.
Dude, I'd take anyone over Roger Goodell. Just saying.
Wow, man.
It's just that I mean, it's fine to be in sports, but coaching is a lot different than like being in a committee.
I'm all for a woman coming in if she knows what she's doing, but I'm curious. Wow.
Cleveland's interest in interviewing Rice comes at a time when women recently have moved into decision-making and roles.
Yeah, maybe I got caught up by the headline a little bit. I mean, the headline kind of sensationalizes it. So,
no, I was just reading.
I did not know that she was fully involved with football. Like she's had history already.
I'm looking I'm looking at other things that they have for coaches, but we're talking about the head coach, and I'm not saying it because she's a woman, but she's got to know what she's talking about, and I mean I would assume, but I just had to mention this. This is what just came up on my phone. All right, so that kind of caught us all off guard. Anyway, the music talk we just had is something that we wanted to add. It was something we will.
Sorry, I was just laughing at what I linked.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite video.
All right, let's move on.
The audio's better.
I don't even know. Anyway, we are gonna move on to. Let's see. I've been having trouble saying this word off air for some reason, but college football rivalry week.
Jesus, it even sounded like a struggle, even when
it really was.
I can't say it either, dude. I try to avoid that word at all
rivalry.
I can't get it out.
All right, Tyler, ready?
My
all right,
mouth
Tyler.
cannot form the shape to say that word.
say it, Ty. Say it 5 times fast.
No chance.
Come on. Do it for the vine.
Rival. I can't even say it once.
Oh my god.
Rivalry. Rivalry.
You're like rivalry.
Oh, you got two. You got two.
I got two. Oh, here we go, baby. We're on a roll.
Oh god, I don't know.
More than I can get. I can't even get one.
Rivalry.
It's just a weird word. Anyway, college football rivalry week coming up, and there's some big matchups. So basically what we're going to do is I have the list of all the games here. I'm kind of just going to pick out the biggest ones. We can kind of talk about it, kind of maybe give a prediction, and just say basically what it means for, the conference and playoffs and bowl games and whatever. So first game, by the way, these games are, there's some Thanksgiving games, some Black Friday games, and the usual Saturday games. So this is a Friday night game, 8 o'clock, Oklahoma playing against West Virginia, who just lost last night to Oklahoma State. and got upset there. This game, it does have big implications because whoever wins this game does win the Big 12 because they'd both be 7-2, and then I'm sorry. So if West Virginia won, they'd both be 7-2, and then they'd win on the tiebreaker, the head-to-head. And this is big for Oklahoma because Oklahoma is 6th right now in the country and also 6th in the rankings for the college football playoff. And they got some. They don't really control their own destiny at this point. They have to have some teams, really 2 teams above them lose. But it's still a big game. Kyler Murray has had an amazing year. This is also a big matchup because Will Grier, being one of the top projected quarterbacks, at least coming into the year, has really carried that West Virginia team to some big wins this year. And last night couldn't do it, but Oklahoma's looked really good. I don't know if you guys have anything to add on Oklahoma, but if it's a shame for them just because obviously they got Alabama and Clemson who've had they're the best teams in the country, and then the year that Michigan's had and Notre Dame, but like they're a team right now that's 10-1. They're 7-1 in their conference, and the numbers they put up, and now they're in the Big 12 where defense is optional, but the numbers they're putting up has been insane. So big matchup there. I don't know if anybody has anything to add with Oklahoma and their playoff hopes, but yeah, that's the first big matchup we have.
Man, the only way they're getting in is if someone loses. But I think, man, it's so hard to tell. Like their loss against Texas,
hurts.
It hurts because it's like, man, so many people are high on Texas this season too for some reason. I don't know why.
Texas.
Because it's Texas, damn it!
I don't give a fuck if
Terrorism.
Texas.
Terrorism.
No,
they like Oklahoma's looked really good this season, and like, man, I hate to rank them below Georgia because Georgia has just had more impressive wins, but I definitely think Oklahoma, like, maybe if all hell goes loose, they deserve a spot, but nothing more.
Yeah, I agree. They've had a really good year. Kyler Murray is definitely going to be in the Heisman talk.
I find it weird that like West Virginia is kind of considered their rival, though.
It's more, yeah, it is weird.
Like I would think it'd be like Oklahoma State. Or
it's more, it's like rivalry week and just like the matchups that's gonna really determine conferences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there you go. And then the next one we move to the Pac-12. Washington, who's had to their standards, I think a really disappointing year. A lot of people, myself included, actually had them, I believe at least, had them in a playoff spot at the beginning of the year. They come in 8-3, 6-2 in the conference against Washington State, who, holy crap, 8th in the country. They're 10-1, 7-1 in the Pac-12, and this is going to be another one of those matchups where if Washington wins, they win the conference, or they win. They'll make it to the Pac-12 championship game over them based on head-to-head. The big story for Washington State is the emergence of Gardner Minshew, their quarterback. Almost 4,500 yards on the year, 36 touchdowns. Myles Gaskin having a decent year for Washington, 900 yards, 7 TDs. A lot of people had high hopes for him. So, I don't know. I know Washington State was a team that a lot of people, had having a good year, but I don't know if they had this coming. They're, like I said, 8th in the country. They're 10-1. Let's. I'm just gonna click on them, see their matchups. They haven't played anybody like spectacular.
They played Oregon and Stanford.
I was gonna say outside of their conference. I was gonna say they have. So they have played Oregon and Stanford. both winning those games. Their only loss this year was to USC by 3. Yeah, I mean, they've had an impressive year. And like I said, Minshew has been really good for them this year. As for the Washington side, excuse me, like I said, they've kind of had a somewhat of a disappointing year because a lot of people had high hopes for them. I mean, don't get me wrong, 8-3 is not bad, but they had a terrible loss to Cal, a couple weeks ago, only putting up 10 points. They lost to Oregon, and then their other loss was in Week 1 to Auburn, which was the game that everybody was saying if they win this game and do what they're supposed to, they will get into the playoffs. Because at that point, Auburn was ranked number 9, but obviously, not gone their way. So a big game again. It's going to determine the Pac-12 North. North. So that is that game, and then the big one for me and Bobby, Michigan, Ohio State, in Columbus.
Excuse me, just 1 second.
Go blue! Wow, ear rape. Okay.
Jesus, man.
Jesus, man.
You're gonna have to cut that out.
No, so this is probably the biggest game in Michigan football in the past decade, man. Like, if they win this game, they win the conference. They play Northwestern in the Big Ten championship game. If they beat Ohio State, they should win that game, and then there you go. That's your ticket into the playoffs. So Michigan coming in, both teams coming in 10-1, 8-0 for Michigan in the Big Ten, and 7-1 for Ohio State with that terrible loss they had to Purdue. And yeah, I mean, that was their big loss of the season and why they dropped down so much. But Brian, you were talking about the teams for Oklahoma that would have to lose to get in. Michigan, as much as I love them, I know this is a big game. This is what their season comes down to. I mean, they had a great year. Their only loss has been in the first week of the season to Notre Dame.
Yep.
And statistically speaking, they have one of the best defenses in college football. Their offense this year has looked better. That's what happens when you get a quarterback. Shea Patterson has brought a dynamic to that offense that I think has really, really helped. His ability to do what he does. So I think like I said, this is probably one of the biggest games in Michigan football for the last couple of years. Again, we'll determine who wins the conference in that division. I'm nervous. I want to say that Michigan, this team is different from years. It is different from years past, obviously, but
is it really?
Is it? I mean, hey, a lot of people.
We'll find out. We'll find out on Rivalry Week.
And now it's going to be interesting because last night against Indiana, they lost a couple players to injury and some big names. The big one being Chase Winovich, who's been very outspoken in terms of after games. He's had post-game interviews, and that's why a lot of people know him. But he's been one of our best defensive players, and he got cheap shot at last night by an offensive lineman and got hurt. And he's up in the air for this game against Ohio State, which could be huge. They said that it looks better than they thought it was because he needed help off the field. But yeah, that could be a big thing. But yeah, really excited for that game.
I'm just saying, Michigan is the type of team to beat Ohio State, but then lose to Northwestern.
Yo, oh my God, if that happens, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I'm out the window.
You know what's so funny though? That is the most that's so true. It just is. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they look.
Well, I'm not saying Northwestern is a terrible team, but that is a team you should definitely have the advantage over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's just that you couldn't be more right. Like that's something that they would do. So yeah, I'm trying to just scroll through these other games here. You got the Alabama Auburn game. You know, eh, not much in terms of conference wise for that, but a game obviously Alabama has to win. Just because despite them being 11-0, they're getting a lot of talk. Like if they get one loss, does that put them out of the playoffs? Um, and the big game that is going to be against Georgia for the SEC title.
Yeah, I was about to say. I
that's
feel like
the big
that's
one.
more. I was about to say. I feel like that's probably more of a factor. Like I feel like Alabama could lose on Saturday and still be in the top 4 just because of the Georgia Alabama matchup the following week. You know what?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think.
So I'm saying an Alabama win does not help Georgia, or an Alabama loss does not help Georgia.
Right. So that would move Clemson up to 1. Hypothetically speaking, that would move Clemson up to 1, and then I guess that would put Notre Dame ahead of them just because they'd still be
I would bump
undefeated.
everyone up a spot and then put Alabama at 4.
Okay. Right.
I would say though, if Alabama were to win on Saturday and then lose to Georgia on the championship game, assuming like everyone like notable wins on Saturday, I would say Georgia gets in and Alabama gets out.
Right. Okay.
Just because of the SEC championship game.
Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of people are saying, but it's just crazy. Like, I mean, at that point they'd still be undefeated, and then to get one loss and be bumped out, I don't know, it's just crazy to me. By the way, something we were going to cover on the podcast, but I guess a little bit of breaking news. Les Miles officially headed to Kansas to be the next coach there. With an official announcement planned sometime today, but an official announcement, I should say, but. He goes there. And then the last game I want to talk about is just with the Notre Dame. They play USC, a game they should easily win. But, you talk about a team with no room for error. Like, it's another undefeated team. But besides their, I said this before. So they beat Michigan the first week of the season, who are ranked number 14th at the time. They beat Stanford, who was ranked number 7th. And, beat Syracuse last night, who was ranked 12th. But the big argument with Notre Dame is that a lot of the teams that they beat at the time that were high ranked are now have had terrible seasons. So it's like, did those wins count as much? At the time they played them when they were really good, but yeah, Notre Dame. I just wanted to add that as the last game because it's another team that I feel like doesn't have much room for error. They have to win that game, and then they'll be good. They'll make the playoffs.
So this is gonna sound really bad. I know you talked about Les Miles going to Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, if Kansas wins on Saturday, it'll be the first time they've had more than 3 wins since 2009. Like they are a god awful football team.
Yeah, they are. Their basketball team great. Not so much with the football team.
Yeah, like the past 5 seasons, like they've had 1 or 2 wins, and they've had maybe 1 3-win season. It's like holy cow.
Right. All right. So yeah, a lot to look forward to there. College football has been really fun to watch this year. Me getting into it a lot more than I had in previous years. It's definitely been a good investment in time. But we will move on to Brendy's in case you missed it segment.
All right, so as you guys know, PlayStation has done some very drastic changes to, I guess, kind of expand a little bit, like how they've done with Fortnite. Finally made it so you can actually play with, your friends cross-platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a couple other things. I can't, for some reason I can't think of the other notable changes they made.
There was the thing with the gamer that's
what I was thinking of. Okay, yeah. So they made it so you can change your I think they're called PSN IDs now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now this is just announced that, and I actually didn't even know this was a thing, or this wasn't a thing, rather. Apparently, PUBG has been confirmed to come to PlayStation 4, with a release date and a price. It'll be $30, and it will be released on December 7th. Which I thought PUBG was already a thing for PlayStation. I guess I had kind of assumed it was, but
Right.
like, damn, like, why the hell did they take so long to do this?
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like PUBG
And
is like,
it's not even a cross-platform problem.
yeah,
Theory.
like I don't know. I feel like it's kind of dead now.
That's literally what I'm about to say. This is the last grasp for air.
Yep.
Mm.
This is the last grasp for air. I have nothing against the game, but with the release of Blackout, PUBG has kind of been swept under the radar. And so I think this is kind of a last grasp for air. They've probably been trying to figure out how to put it on PlayStation for a while. But this is them being like, okay, look, we're in trouble. Let's pull the trigger. Let's go. So that's what I think this is, which is kind of sad, but it makes sense. It's an interesting move. I am interested to see how this is going to get received, because to me, everyone's still playing Blackout, even on PlayStation. So I don't know how people are actually going to want to download this unless they're like diehard PUBG fans, or maybe I'm wrong and everybody wants to try it who don't have a PC and want to try it and then end up liking it or just getting the downloads. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't have any hope for it, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I remember it's an article on GameSpot, and I was like, when I first saw the title, I was like, wait, PUBG's not on PlayStation? Like, that's kind of one of those things where I had kind of assumed, like,
yeah, I didn't really think about it.
Yeah, you don't think about it because, like, it's like you can't really play cross-platform on that game with your friends anyway. And so, like, there's no reason for them to hold back on PlayStation. I would think PlayStation, if anything, would have wanted it like at its height, but I guess PlayStation's thought process back then was different. They're like, okay, we're the best console. We're not gonna make anything. We're gonna make kind of make it all about us. But I mean, it is interesting to see PlayStation and PlayStation and PUBG doing this. Specifically PUBG, because I think like you said, PUBG is like dead. But I just thought it was really interesting, like, seeing how what PUBG had used to be, and kind of like tying it in with what PlayStation has been doing with for the past like month or two. It's kind of like expanding a little bit on their brand a little bit. So I don't know. I just thought you guys would be interested in that.
Yeah, well, I don't have any hope for it.
I agree with Bobby. I think it's a less. Like I said, I think it's dead. Like, I think it's dying. I should say. So, kind of just let's go for it.
Yeah, you're not completely wrong. All right, so moving on to the next story. So what guys would you say, or what animal is like the best imitator?
Parrot.
Parrot.
Yeah, a parrot, of course,
okay.
Right?
All right.
Okay, so sometimes if you talk to a parrot, it'll like talk back, and it'll have that little fucking chirping, annoying fucking. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
But,
all right. There's some.
And obviously, parrots, they sometimes live longer than fucking humans. So, like I said, parrots are very good imitators, and they'll often, just imitate you, talk back, and all that stuff. So a parrot, and I think it's in Northamptonshire, England, had decided, you know what? Of all the things I'm going to imitate a fucking fire alarm, and I'm going to start beeping really loudly. So the owner of the parrot starts freaking out. He's like, "Holy shit, my fire alarm's going off!" So he calls the fire department, and the fire department like looks around, and they're like, "There's nothing going on, but we still hear the beeping." Turns out it's the fucking parrot, imitating this fucking fire alarm. And the Twitter is they have a Twitter account that says, "Incident, false alarm. This was caused by a parrot impersonating the smoke alarm at a property." property. Excuse me. But yeah, it's just like, and if you hear the sound, like it sounds exactly like a fire alarm, and like there's like no like it makes complete sense like why they started freaking out thinking it was a fire.
Let me listen to this.
Yeah, so he just called the fire brigade basically on his parrot.
Yeah, I gotta listen to this. So
Yeah, it's literally perfect. Just wait till y'all hear it.
Yeah, I'm listening to it now. But
Yeah,
like,
oh my god,
you see exactly what I mean?
that's so weird. It's like exact.
Yeah. Like either like it sounds like either like it's like low on batteries or like it's going off, you know,
Yeah,
one of the two.
right. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, I'm never owning a parrot in my life.
What in the hell? Like, oh my god.
So
Jesus.
I was watching that. I was like, that sounds exactly like a fire alarm.
Okay then. That's not. I'm not owning a goddamn parrot. I would kill it. I would break its goddamn neck.
So just imagine, like, you know, it's a slow, like you're a fireman and it's like kind of a slow day, nothing's really going on, and all of a sudden, like, you get a call and it's like, all right, shit, you know, let's go help out the people. Turns out it's a fucking parrot.
I mean, I would be pissed. I would be fucking pissed off.
Yeah, I would too.
I'd be like, yo, fuck this is bullshit.
Yeah, and parrots are fucking assholes. By the way, never get one.
Oh no, not in my life.
Nope.
All right, good boys.
I'm a little more seen than that.
And I'll have like kind of like one more thing for the end of in case you missed it. So there's this thing going on Twitter about who's like the most interesting character you've ever had at like a school assembly or like a school meeting. You know, a couple of people were saying like Bill Clinton like flew in a helicopter and landed on the school roof or something like that. So have you guys had any interesting encounters at your school?
We had I can speak for us. We had encounters like it was random or just
it was like really random or like kind of confusing or like just made you laugh, something like that.
So we had if you're familiar with I don't even know if this is around anymore, the pop band R5. So apparently what happened was this girl in like in me and Tyler's school, our 7th, 8th, and high school were all combined. Uh-huh. So apparently some girl in the 7th grade won a contest to have a private concert at our high school. So our high school had a private R5 concert, but the deal was that since some girl in 7th grade won it, it was only the middle school that were allowed to attend the show. But the problem was there were so many like people and like so many of the girls, especially in the high school, who were trying to look in and get in and try and sneak into the show because you know the singers are heartthrobs. Uh-huh. So it was just funny because it was just buzzing. You know, everyone was waiting outside to try and get on their car. You know, everyone was trying to get into the gym. That's the one that comes to mind immediately for me. Do you remember that guy?
No, I definitely do. That would have been the first one.
When I was in 9th grade, we had Roscoe Dash come to our school.
What?
Yeah, he did that song with Waka Flocka.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and he actually came like it was in the morning, and he came on the announcements, and he was like, "Yo, what up? It's your boy Roscoe Dash," and people started like, I'm serious, like flooding the hallways, like out of class, like.
Going back to sorry, I just want to say because I don't know if you guys know who R5 is, but it's I
was gonna say, aren't they like kind of on hiatus now?
Well, it's
they're like a TV, like a Disney TV show. What's that guy's name?
Yeah, Ross Lynch is his name.
Ross Lynch. That's it.
This kid used to be on a Disney TV show and created a band with his brothers and maybe his sister or something like that. I can't really remember, and that's who they came. Austin, so like it was literally, it was that show. Yes. So literally, that's what came to our school.
Yeah, and my sister had a deep obsession with them at the time.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was a weird time. It was a weird day.
Well, thank you guys for your inputs on that conversation. So let's go ahead and move on.
All right, and we're gonna finish up the show as always with our predictions for this week. It was a good week last week for us.
What was
that was a hiccup and a burp at the same time.
Sorry, I wasn't gonna let that slide.
It's fine. It was, I don't know what the fuck that was, but
Jesus.
We actually all predicted the same teams to win, and they all won. So we went 3 for 3 last week. This week,
God damn it.
yeah, so that just means everybody goes up. So I still have the lead at 16 points. Brendy 15, Bobby 14. We have
last place as usual.
3 games.
I'm 1 point off.
Excuse me. I have 3 games this week. First game, we wanted to mix it up a little bit. 2 good teams this year. Maybe not everybody expecting. Houston at Washington. Then we have the Sunday night primetime game, Minnesota at Chicago, and the big one on Monday night. A game that was supposed to be played in Mexico, which is no longer. It's being played in LA. Kansas City versus LA. So we will start off with the Houston-Washington game. Bobby, give me your prediction.
Okay, so the Redskins have been solid this year. I think Houston still has a missing piece for them. So now we have these 2 teams are weird. These teams are freaking weird because these teams, last year were looked at as low tier, no hope type teams. At least to me, would I be correct in saying that? Like,
I mean, Deshaun Watson got injured last year. Like, he was having a good
right,
year until
and that's
he got
part
injured.
of it. And that's part of it. I know, I understand that. But to me, they were still considered this kind of low tier team. Now we have, Redskins topping the NFC East, Texans topping the AFC South. This shit is so backwards because the Jaguars are last in the AFC South, for God's sake, and Eagles are third in the NFC East. What is this season? Okay. Anyway, I just think the Skins have a more solid ground than Houston does. So I had the Skins beating Houston 27-17 in a bit of a barn burner.
Yeah, and it's really funny what you're saying about the AFC South because like with the Jags in last place and are the Texans in first?
Yeah. Texans are top of the AFC South, correct?
That's fucking crazy because I would literally think it'd be completely flipped.
Yep, don't sleep on the Titans though. Here they come.
Yeah, I know, and but whatever. So the Houston Texans have won 6 straight games, and they just came off their bye week. So I think they're definitely going to keep that momentum going. They've looked really well in the games that they have won, and like the games that they have lost, they've only lost by like 1 possession, which they could very easily. Well, I mean, you could say that for just about any team, but they very easily could be. 9-9 well, not 9-0 probably, but like 8-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
But so they're looking really good with their 6 straight wins. It's kind of hard to tell with the Redskins kind of what the fuck they're doing because, like you said, last season they were, they weren't even really a fringe playoff team. They were just like a mediocre bad team kind of thing.
Right.
This season though, they've definitely showed improvements, and I've liked what I've seen so far. They got some pretty impressive wins, including a win over Green Bay, I think. I don't see them continuing that though. I've got Houston taking this one 30-20.
And I've said this in the past about games, but this just feels like one of those games that's going to be really sloppy. Some turnovers, weird scoring. That's why I put a weird score down. I got Houston winning 19-14. How they get 19, I'm not really sure how. I haven't really thought about that. But they'll get like a safety or some bullshit.
38-2.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just gonna go with that. Like I said, I think it's gonna be really sloppy. Gonna keep it short. Texans look good. I got my boy DT there now, which is sad to see, but yeah. Give him they played him against the Broncos and then give him a week, the bye week to figure stuff out playbook wise. So yeah, I just have Houston winning this game. Next game, Minnesota at Chicago. Chicago having a really good year. I know a lot of people expected them to be good. like, for years to come, but maybe not this quick. But here we are against the Vikings. Bobby, go ahead.
So this one I got Minnesota winning 21-17. Chicago's been strong. A lot of it for pretty obvious. I don't think I need to go into it. I mean, so this one was kind of tough, right? I think most of it's just me making kind of a postseason prediction. I think Minnesota is going to have this insane run with these last few games. Also, I'm just trying to get Captain Kirk to actually do something for me. But anyway, I don't know, man. I'm still not behind the Bears yet, even though they've been doing well. But I think Minnesota is a strong team that's going to be a thorn in the side in the NFC come the postseason. So I really think Minnesota is going to take this 121-17. It's going to be close. It might come down to one last possession. Might come down to one last pass. Who knows? I don't know. I like this game, but this is really hard for me. I can't get behind Chicago yet. I don't know why. This was my same thing with what I was saying about Mahomes in the beginning of the goddamn season, but then I was turned completely wrong. I can be completely wrong, and I'm aware of this, but I can get behind Minnesota easier than I can behind Chicago.
So I'm not entirely sure why you can't get behind Chicago because like they've had very close games against very good teams. Green Bay, New England, and then a Miami Dolphins team that, okay, you could argue that was kind of a trap game, but every NFL team has a trap game from time to time.
Because Chicago's team's so stretchy. Like they seem to go on these streaks. But then I just think they're gonna fall at some point. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, man. I'm actually kind of I was kind of low on them to begin the season. I wasn't sure how Trubisky was going to play. I wasn't sure how the season was going to go in general. And one of the things I really like about the Bears is like I'm looking at the rest of their schedule. I would say maybe the hardest. They've got 2 games left in the season that I would say are like difficult, which is the Rams and Packers, and then they could easily, I'd say if they could like split, those 2 games, they're in business. And I think the road to the playoffs starts in this game against the Vikings. So I'm gonna have the Bears winning against Minnesota 27-20.
This is a tough one for me. It just has that feel to me that Minnesota, not that they're struggling this year, but
they're so up and down.
Their expectations coming into the season were really high, and it just feels like this needs to be one of those wins to get them to win this division. Like this, if they want to win this division, this is a game they have to win. Like there's no doubt about that. So I have this kind of a high scoring game, 34-29. I gotta say one thing. Mitch Trubisky has looked really good this year, and I know a lot of people were kind of bashing them for moving up and taking him at 2 when last year when whenever he got drafted. I'm trying to think. It wouldn't be last year. I guess it would be the year before. So I think he's had a really good season, and a lot of people, like I said, were being negative, but he's been really good. So I look to see him progress. That defense looks good there, but like I said, I just have a feeling this is a game Minnesota kind of shows out for, and comes up with the win. And okay, the last game on the slate is maybe the game of the season. A game again, like I said, that was supposed to be played in Mexico City, but with the turf being as bad as it was, it's being.
Don't look at that picture; it is terrible.
Yeah, right.
Dear God.
Two teams with 1 loss coming in. So, Bobby, what's your prediction for the game?
All right. So, for me, I have this one being a back and forth game. And I got the Rams taking this one, 35-28. So, Mahomes has been hot. I don't need to go into that. I know I'm dead wrong. Gurley has been he's been a goddamn beast, dude. Jesus. But Kansas City's defense is not there, and is not even close to there yet.
So I think this is something that LA is going to be able to kind of run over early. And the same goes for LA. Their defense isn't totally there either. But these are both offensively strong teams. So to me, this is just going to be down to a final shootout. And to me, I like the idea of LA in the end red zone more than Kansas City. So this might come down to one possession, but this will be back and forth the entire game. And again, like I said, I got Rams 35-20 on this one.
All right. So my head says the Rams, but my heart says Kansas City. So it's very hard for me to decide who I feel like is actually going to win this. So I'm looking at Kansas City's schedule right now. I would argue that Kansas City has only played maybe one good team so far.
The Patriots.
Okay, they've only won against one good team. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And I would say that team is probably the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are, quite honestly, they're nothing special this season.
You got to throw in the Chargers too, because the Chargers are 7-2 right now, and I know the Chiefs beat them in Week 1. So.
Well, you got to remember, I'm probably the lowest person here on the Chargers. So
yeah, I don't get it. They're 7-2 is still not good enough for you. Anyway,
all right, and then I'm looking at the loss. I'm looking at the Rams schedule. They've beat some very good teams. The Packers. They played a close game against the Saints. They lost that. I would say the Seahawks as well. Like, they're definitely underperforming though, but they're nothing but it's always like, Bobby, you're always high on Russell Wilson. It's hard to count the Seahawks out as long as they have him.
Exactly.
And they beat them twice. And I guess if you want to throw in the Chargers as well, but I don't really want to.
Oh my God, man.
So my argument for this game is that Kansas City has had a much easier schedule than the Rams have. So with that said, I still think Kansas City is a great team. So it's hard to argue against both, or it's hard to argue against one team over another, in my opinion, for this game, because both teams, they're 9-1. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, yeah, they're both 9-1.
Yeah, so unfortunately, one team's got to lose. I'm going with the Rams, 28-14.
And yeah, I will say to this game, if there was any game that could finish 70-69, this would be the game.
Nice.
Nice. You got that right. It just feels like a game that is going to shoot out. I have the score being 37-34. Just I'm trying to be reasonable here, and LA's defense is good. Don't get me wrong, but their secondary has been banged up all year. Which just kind of hurt them. Talib has been out. Marcus Peters, he's been playing, but he's been dealing with an injury. And they still got, Sue and Donald up front, but, their secondary's been hurting them. And then as for KC, that, they've been dealing with some injuries too. Eric Berry's been out all year, but that defense, it's gotten better, but it was terrible the first couple weeks of the season. So, yeah, I see this game shooting out. Like I said, 37-34 is my score. It's going to be a huge game. I'm very excited. Before we end the show, I just want to say, shouting out Adam Schefter again, just tweeted out something we're probably going to have to cover in the future. Jaguars likely to consider trading Jalen Ramsey in offseason.
Oh my, yeah.
That's going to be something we might have to cover. But anyway, that is it for this show. As always, you can find us on Twitter at Come Play Network. Brendy's been doing, as we said before, a very good job over there. Just put the polls out for this week's, and Zach started the week this week. But yeah, we will be back sometime next week, covering more stories. Hopefully we get some better stories. But that is all for us. We will see you next week for episode 14 of the Come Play podcast.
Peace.